My name is Mohamed Kamel. I'm the CEO of Egyptian Resorts Company. Egyptian Resorts Company is the master developer of Sahel Hashish, a fully integrated resort city on the Red Sea coast. Well, honestly, it was quite refreshing to listen to some of the government officials and, of course, the Minister of Tourism today speak about all the efforts that they're putting in support of the sector. Today, what the National Bank of Egypt mentioned about the initiatives taken by the Central Bank of Egypt and by the other banks in support of the sector as well. It's very encouraging to see how optimistic the Minister was in terms of the rebound and the revival of the tourism industry in Egypt. Well, honestly, when you look at the number of tourists that we've had in our peak year in 2010, 14.8 million tourists, and we look at where Turkey was that same year, about 17 million tourists. And look at where Turkey is today and where Egypt is today, about 30 million tourists, Turkey, and about maybe 10 or 9 for Egypt. You can see that the opportunity for growth is just exponential. We have the luxury of having 1,000 kilometers on the Mediterranean and an additional 1,000 kilometers on the Red Sea. We have 35 to 40% of the world's monuments, and I genuinely believe that Egypt is the place to invest. No other country has that product offering, and nobody else has this, the springboard, the current installed capacity, the current infrastructure that Egypt has in order to grow the tourism industry and the business here. Well, I think the biggest challenge today is really perception. It's the perception of security in Egypt, and I say perception because that's really what it is. We're standing here today in Egypt, and you're a foreigner. You're staying here. You're traveling around the country. When you go back, I think, and read what's in the newspapers, in the media, what's on television, I think you will have you'll feel that there is a disconnect between perception and reality. And I think our biggest challenge is bridging this. This gap between perception and reality. Well, I think it'll be a part of that because there's a new generation of entrepreneurs, a new generation of CEOs currently running the tourism industry. And it's taken over from a slightly older generation. So we're able to speak more to our needs. We are less concerned about ownership of materialistic things. We're more concerned about the experience that we go through, and this is what we need to be selling. We need to be selling experiences as opposed to prepackaged hotel rooms for a week. And honestly speaking, this is slowly going to take shape. It's a huge opportunity for Egypt because we're at the forefront of this, I want to say, evolution or travel evolution. It's a global phenomenon, and honestly speaking, we have the infrastructure to capitalize on it. Again, we're looking for different twists on adventure travel. We're looking on something different for medical tourism. Cultural tourism is not what it used to be, for example, and Egypt is huge when it comes to cultural tourism. How can you garner the interest of somebody who has access to all the information they need regarding the pharaohs or the old pharaonic temples? I'm thinking more along the lines of creating those unbelievable 4D holographic events inside of those old pharaonic temples, bridging this modern technology with what we have in terms of heritage. And this is where we can basically speak to a new generation of travelers. I honestly believe you need to couple this with with fun events, with parties. You just need to get out of this comfort zone that we've been in, bringing in traditional tourism. You and I today, when we travel, we're not going to the next tour operator around the corner, of where we live. We're actually, we're going online. We're doing our research. We're looking for the funnest things to do. We're looking for an adrenaline rush. We're looking for a different type of healthy relaxation as opposed to classical relaxation just on the beach. So I'm not saying that, beach tourism, which traditionally been Egypt, is going anywhere. I'm thinking that it's just going to slow down, and what's going to really drive growth is just this new generation of travelers that are starting to work. They're starting to earn income, and they want to spend it on experiences. It's pretty much it has two sides. One side is that you can take cheaper flights and come over to Egypt, so that's that's the positive. The negative, obviously, is that people aren't spending as much. But I believe again that Egypt being one of the best value for money destinations would not be affected by less spending money. I think this is Europe. This is more the big cities around the world: New York, London, Paris. But for Egypt, I believe, on the contrary, this is an opportunity for us. This is where Egypt can say, hey, you know what? You have less money to spend, but Egypt has something to offer you for that amount of money that you have to spend. And if you look back at 2008 and 2009, right after the financial crisis, I remember we were at the New York Stock Exchange giving a presentation, and I just said the same thing. I'm like, Egypt will not be affected by the financial crisis. On the contrary, it's not that people stop taking vacations, it's that they just want to spend, they have to be smarter spending their money. I think Egypt is a very smart way to spend your holiday money. Well, honestly, terrorism has become a global phenomenon. It's no longer an Egypt-centric issue or a regional issue. And this being the case, the entire world has to address security differently. The fact that we're taking those positive steps on airports, I think, is just brilliant. That we're not, as the minister said, we're not just doing, what needs to be done or the minimum requirement. No, we're going ahead with being perhaps some of the most secured airports around the world. It's one of the things that we need to do. But again, I think this is a global conversation. This is not a local conversation. This is something where countries have to put their heads together in order to tackle this issue. It's not what Egypt is doing independently or what France is doing independently. It's what collectively we are doing to protect the citizens of the world that are traveling to and forth all of these countries.